guys, so we're back with another match ramble, and obviously it still is Forbidden Door week, and yes, we're going to be talking about a match that involves our supposed main event for the pay-per-view this weekend, and yes, we'll be talking about MJF and Mark Briscoe. Now, obviously, I was confused whether to do this match that we're going to be talking about, or the match at the end of Forbidden Door 24, not last year, 25, sorry. The Team Ospreay versus Team Moxley, you know, the steel cage one. And I just thought this one made more sense because, frankly, it's less chaotic, it's easier to break down, but also it does involve Briscoe and MJF. We're going to be talking about MJF versus Mark Briscoe from AEW All Out, which is a tables and tacks match. Now, this match, it's some of the most Mark Briscoe shit I've ever seen. I love it. So, obviously, the build to this match was Briscoe and Max had their feud, obviously, you know, start going, and this was the whole thing. Max was invoking Jay Briscoe's name. Cheap shit, but whatever. And Max picked the stipulation. MJF comes out, he's got a big white collar wins shirt. Briscoe comes out, Briscoe is immediately pissed. And the match begins. Now, as soon as the match begins, Max instantly leaves doing all that shit, you know, trying to get in. And, like, he's clearly alarmed by the tacks because Briscoe gets all the buckets and just starts immediately pouring all the buckets at the tacks, and there's a lot. And then, you know, he's telling Max to get in the ring, and he's like, you don't think I'll get in? And then walks in to walk back away, you know, chicken shit. And then him and Briscoe obviously brawl outside. And, like, Briscoe's continually pushing Max against the barriers where he just automatically, like, gets him on the apron. And Briscoe's about to do I don't think it was a froggy bow. I think it was just a roll and dive. And Max hits him with a low blow. And to get out the way, Max slides into the ring. And he's like, oh, fuck. He realizes he's in the ring. And then Briscoe's like, yeah. And then it just becomes like, you know, who can slam someone down the quickest. Which is very much it's a lot of slams in this match, as you can imagine, with tacks. Now, I do like how it does very much lean, like the start of the match is very fucking good. I think the start of it's the better half, which usually is the opposite. I think the first half of the match, it's like a 20-minute match, I'd say. It's the first half that I enjoy the most, which is very surprising. It's very much the crowd into it, but it's still not. Like, it feels like there's a point where they kind of tap out, and I'll label a point. But what happens is, so Max and Briscoe are obviously striking each other, and there's like Briscoe's obviously wavering, seeing like, oh, and then he somehow goes down, yeah, you know, that stuff, the Briscoe stuff. And then, you know, it constantly is back and forth who's going to fall first. And Max teases to slam Briscoe, then Max reverses. You know, a lot of reversals in the slams. Max does eventually slam Briscoe down first, and Briscoe like, you know, as he does. And I think he does, because he continues, I think he doesn't go for the power driver yet. No, he doesn't go for the power driver. Briscoe's continuously trying to hit the J Driller too, and he just can't hit the J Driller. After this, when Briscoe's hit out, you know, well, out, he's hit the tacks. Max goes out and he starts putting the tables away. He goes up, middle fingers to Brian. I stood up like, hang on a minute, buddy, we got a problem here. You know, that type of shit. But as that, like, you know, Max is continuously trying to kill the match off, you know, with the stipulation, you know, obviously to the crowd's dismay. Briscoe at this point split open. Max goes in. This was fucking nuts. He gets a fucking mouthful. He's holding, Briscoe's bleeding, and he's like, you know, holding it, you know, to get more blood. And he goes down, he picks up a bunch of tacks and puts them in Briscoe's mouth. And it's like, oh fuck, and then he manages to get them in Briscoe's mouth, punches Briscoe. Obviously, that really hurts. And shit like that, and I love stuff like that. As it continues furthermore, it is a lot of Max striking Briscoe, taking advantage of the attacks, but eventually, as you can imagine, Briscoe does slam Max into the attacks. That's kind of the build. It's very much anticipating, will Max slam into the attacks? Of course he will. He does get slammed in. And after that, it's kind of like back and forth. Max really hates the tacks. And I will say about the tacks, there's a point where, so, like I said previously, I alluded to it, so after Max originally slams Briscoe in, I don't know if because he drags him like brooming it, trying to get rid of a lot of tacks. And I don't know if it was because of that, or because he later on does a basic, like a tombstone power driver. And when he does that, there's some tacks in Briscoe's back of his head. And when I mean some, I mean at least 10. It was fucking nuts. There's so many in the back of Briscoe's head. And, you know, Briscoe's like, you know, he's fucking nuts. Max is just bleeding by the crotch area. That's pretty funny. And it's just very much, you know, striking heavy with the tacks. Once they've both fell into the tacks, the match kind of loses that anticipation, which I do feel like, and it does kind of build it back up towards the end. But I feel like that's why I enjoy the first half of the match, because it does have a stronger first half, because the anticipation of who's going to fall in, when's Max going to eventually hit it is like, that's a lot of the match for me. That was a lot of the appeal. And it's a great match, it really is. But obviously Briscoe goes to tease for a froggy bow, which would be fucking insane on the tacks, but he doesn't hit it. Max obviously reverses it. Briscoe goes out to get a chair. Now, this is after he slammed Max down originally. And he goes to slam Max down. He slams Max down, and he goes and gets a chair, and the chair's covered in tacks. And when the chair's covered in tacks, he goes to hit Max with the chair. Max reverses it. And then when he does that, oh God, I forget how he reverses it. The point is, he gets the chair, throws it on the floor. He ends up hitting Briscoe. I think he slams Briscoe down, because the slams Briscoe takes are fucking nuts. They're not like undersold. They're really heavy slams, as you expect, very much Brody King type. And then what they do, so Max goes to do a tombstone power driver on Briscoe on top of the chair, which he does achieve, and it's fucking nuts, because obviously the tacks are still on there, and Briscoe kicks out. And I love how the match really portrays the resilience of Briscoe. I think that's really a strong aspect of it. I think it does showcases Briscoe in a great light. Like, don't get me wrong, I feel like if you watch AEW, you love Mark Briscoe. It's hard not to love Mark Briscoe, you know what I mean? But Jesus, I just feel like this is a great match to kind of sell someone on Mark Briscoe. Like, he's that cool, you know what I mean? I love Briscoe, everyone does. And eventually, once the resilience comes in, he eventually strikes back at Max, and he's on the top rope. Now, so Max eventually gets him back into, like, basically on top of the match. And when he does that, he goes and gets he gets Briscoe and puts Briscoe on the top turnbuckle, starts hitting Briscoe, goes under, gets a chair, gets a table, and puts the table there, and gets all these little small black bags full of tacks and puts them on the chair, on the table. It's like, oh fuck. And then he clearly is going to tease taking Briscoe through the table. Briscoe's alive at this point. He takes Max out, and then it's like very much, oh, Briscoe's going to do it, and Briscoe goes to hit the J Driller, and he does off the top turnbuckle onto Max through the table with the tacks on it. Max is absolutely lifeless. And then he goes up to the top turnbuckle, hits a froggy bow, then hits another one. 1, 2, 3, and that's the finish to the match. And the visualization of Briscoe, obviously celebration with Max, like, Max is distraught. The facial expressions of Max here is absolutely, that's one of the strongest points in the match. I do feel like I said with the match, it does kind of have a really strong start, kind of a, I wouldn't say middle, but like latter end of the middle, and then the end's pretty strong. Like, the finish is really good, and I don't think that's because of it's a poor match. I think obviously this match is great. It really is. It's really fun, but it's one of those matches where it's very much built on will Max or when you're hoping for when Max and Briscoe hit it, then the spots with the chair and the table, but in between the chair and then the table, because there is about like 3 minutes between that, and it sounds stupid, but like the crowd kind of dies. The crowd do kind of feel worn out, because this was on the same card where FTR and Cage and Cope opened up. That was a great match too. And obviously Eddie Kingston returned, which we don't want to talk about that with Big Bill, Jesus Christ. But as an actual match, I think it's great. I think tables and tacks match, I don't think I've ever seen a strict tables and tacks. I've seen death matches, obviously. But like, I don't think I've ever seen a strict tables and tacks match stip on its own, so I thought that was really unique. I think it fits Briscoe to win here. I'm glad that Briscoe wins. I think that's a big thing. Obviously, Max is crawling away. Briscoe's celebrating. That's how we do, baby. Obviously, he's respecting his brother, hitting the J Driller. Like, that's a lot of the story throughout the match. He's continuously trying to hit the J Driller, and when he does, obviously, he puts it through the table. That's really cool. I just think with this match, what's really good about it is it clearly gives Briscoe that good moment, and I think Briscoe gets a lot of that and a lot of respect, but I feel like win against MJF is a very big deal. It's a very big deal to get a win over MJF, especially at this point, after Max is a bona fide star. I think Briscoe getting that's a sign of respect from the company too, which I do love, and I just love Briscoe. I think everyone loves Briscoe. Briscoe's one of those guys that keeps a company. You know what I mean? He's a very much, people don't realise how important a guy, specifically like Mark Briscoe is, and just how good fucking Briscoe is. Briscoe doesn't have a bad match. He never does, and yeah, he's no AJ Styles, mind you, but he's a Mark Briscoe. There's very few Mark Briscoes in the world of wrestling, and I don't think that gets enough credit. I think this is a match that gives it that credit, and that's what I really like. Obviously, from an MJF character standpoint, it's very cathartic. I love how there's a point where Brian goes, he's doing a froggy bow, and then it's like after the Brian's loving it, obviously, and then he goes, "Good job!" Like, he screams, "Good job!" I'm like, oh, fucking hell. So stupid. But as a match, I thought it was really fun. I thought it was a great way to kind of, not bookend it, but kind of finish it for that point. Obviously, it's continued now with Briscoe and Max, but I really enjoyed this. I thought this was a really fun match. I think the crowd didn't love it as much as they could have, but I think, like, that's just because, again, they're probably a bit tight. It's the third match on the card, and it was a bit heavy, but the start and the end's absolutely great. I just think, as a match, I think it's really fun. It's a fun match. It's not like a spectacle. It's not like a Kenny Ospreay, whatever. It's just really fucking fun, and I really, really love that. So yeah, that's my thoughts on MJF versus Mark Briscoe at AEW All Out 2025 in the tables and tacks match. Let me know what you think of the match. Obviously, how excited are you for Max and Briscoe's match at Forbidden Door? And what do you think of Briscoe? Do you think Briscoe is ever capable of being a world title guy? Because I don't know. I don't know, but I fucking love him. Friend of the show.